I used to work the graveyard shift at a 24-hour gas station. Typically, only a handful of customers would stop by during the early hours. I liked this a lot, as it allowed me to catch up on my art or to read. That is, until one night when I found myself at the centre of something so awful that I quit my job the next day. It's around 2 a.m. and I'm doodling in my sketchbook when the door chimes and a man walks in. I don't pay much attention to him, only quickly glancing up to acknowledge his presence. 10 minutes or so pass and I look up from what I'm doing and realise that I've lost sight of him. I check the feed from the cameras that are dotted around the store, but can't see him anywhere. I figure that they must have gone to the restroom, but after half an hour he still isn't back. I'm not supposed to leave the kiosk, but I decide to do a welfare check, which is really just an excuse for me to stretch my legs. I guess I was being kind of complacent and should have really stayed where I was, but I've never been in danger before, so I wasn't really thinking of the risk I was taking. I leave the kiosk and make a quick sweep of the shop floor before I enter the back rooms. I knock on the restroom door as I open it, and am surprised to find that the lights are off. I assume that the man must have left the shop without me realising, and I'm about to head back to my post when there's a movement in the shadows. I reach for the light switch, and as the overheads flicker to full brightness, I see a man hunched over the basin. I play it dumb. "Oh, I didn't realise anyone was in here," I say. He doesn't respond, now scooping handfuls of something out of the sink and smearing it all over his body. That's when I notice the empty jars of peanut butter scattered around his feet. I don't say another word. I walk briskly back to the kiosk and lock myself inside. I want to call the store manager and ask her what to do, but she's not the most approachable person and I'm reluctant to wake her up. I'm deliberating whether or not to call the police when the back room door squeaks open. Some store fixtures partly block my view, so I can only see the top half of the door. I wait for the stranger to step out, but after a few seconds, the door closes. I keep my eyes fixed on it, but it doesn't budge. That's when I hear something fall off one of the shelves. My eyes dart to the surveillance system, and my whole body tenses. There's a man crawling along the floor towards me. His movements are disturbingly fluid with an unsettling grace. What makes matters even more messed up is that the crazy bastard is dripping in peanut butter. A filthy hand emerges from behind the aisle, closely followed by another as the man drags himself towards me. His face is caked in brown, sticky spread, his eyes appearing bright white as he stares vacantly in my direction. He's clearly disturbed, and I'm suddenly grateful for the glass enclosure. I order him to leave the store, but he continues to slither towards me. I grab my phone and tell him that I'm going to call the police. That seems to aggravate matters, and he suddenly strikes and headbutts the kiosk, his eyes bulging as he tries to intimidate me. I step back, not wanting to provoke him. He slams his hands against the glass and screams at me. Then, when he realises that he can't break through, his arms go limp by his sides. Then he turns and walks slowly out of the store. I watch as he makes his way through the forecourt and disappears into the night. I think that's the end of my ordeal, but I couldn't be further from the truth. Finally, 6 a.m. rolls around and the morning staff arrive to relieve me from my post. They immediately ask about the mess, and I recount the strange night that I've had, giving them a heads up that the bathroom will likely need a good clean. It's still dark when I exit the building. I make my way across the dimly lit parking lot to my car. I take solace in the fact that the incident was a few hours earlier, so that weird man should be long gone. I fumble with my keys, my nerves still on edge as I unlock the car door and settle into the driver's seat. As I get ready to pull out of my spot, my parking sensor suddenly goes off. I pause, glancing around and checking my mirrors, but see nothing out of the ordinary. Shrugging it off as a glitch, I slowly start to reverse before the rear sensor starts going berserk. I brake and let the car idle as I debate getting out and taking a look. But then the passenger side sensor starts blaring too. I check my mirrors again, a knot forming in my stomach. I really hope it's just a glitch, a few water droplets causing a false alarm. All the same, I engage the central lock-in and accelerate away. As I'm pulling into my driveway, the first hints of dawn are starting to paint the sky in soft hues of pink and orange. Relieved to be back in the safety of my own neighbourhood, I step out of my car and head towards my front door. That's when I spot something that makes the hairs stand up on the back of my neck. There, on the passenger side panel of my car, is a large streak of peanut butter leading up to the door handle. I feel the blood drain from my face as the realization hits me like a ton of bricks. The sensors must have been picking up on that man as he crawled around the car, stalking me in the darkness. I'm glad that I had the sense to lock the doors and pull away when I did, but knowing how close I came to something truly awful constantly plays on my mind. I quit that job the next day. Minimum wage isn't worth putting up with crap like that, and I've now developed a severe intolerance to nuts.